warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I am Stefanisa, student number 19. Currently in my 50th semester, as part of the final examination for the occupational safety and health, I will be discussing neurotoxic and significant occupational hazard, covering its short symptom and long-term effect in the nervous system. Okay. Occupational disorders are physical or mental health conditions caused or exacerbated by work activities or the environment. Examples include asthma caused by dust, dermatitis from chemical exposure, or hearing loss due to noise. Next is neurotoxic. Neurotoxic is term used to describe a condition where disturbance or change occur in the nervous system due to exposure to specific substances. Whether they are chemical, biological, or physical, these disturbances can occur digitally through damage to nerve cells or indirectly through metabolic and inflammatory mechanisms that affect nerve function. Then, neurotoxic can refer to change in both the structure or function of the nervous system. A common form of this impact is toxic encephalopathy. Therefore, it can be said that neurotoxic are chemical substances that damage the nervous system by disrupting the structure or function of neurons in the body, leading to symptoms such as dizziness, fatigue, and neurological dysfunction. Okay, next, now moving on the search of exposure. This can come from occupational exposure, the general environment and household, food and water, as well as biological agents and the natural environment. Occupational exposure is one of the large sources of neurotoxin. Many industrial sectors use chemicals with neurotoxic potential, such as mining, metal smelting, battery manufacturing, and pesticides, organic solvent, and general manufacturing. Common exposure include heavy metal, organic solvents such as toluene, xylene, and benzene, pesticides, and toxic gas exposure, such as carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide, particulate in industrial and mining work, which can lead to brain hypoxia and neurological damage. Okay, general environment and household. Aside from the workplace, the general public is also at risk of neurotoxic exposure in their daily environment. Some common sources are air pollution from vehicle emission and industrial activities contain various neurotoxic agents and volatile organic compounds that can enter the respiratory system and reach the central nervous system. Then household products such as insecticides, and then active and passive cigarette smoke, which contain nicotine and various other toxics that can affect brain function, especially in children and pregnant women. The dirt, food, and water. Neurotoxic exposure can also come from daily food and beverages. Such include heavy metal in drinking water such as lead and mercury resulting from oil pipe contamination, industrial waste, or mining activities. Then food contamination such as mercury in fish, arsenic in rice, and food product exposure to pesticides. This exposure can affect cognitive function, motor coordination, and the sensory nervous system. And the last, biological agents and the natural environment. Neurotoxic can also originate from biological or natural such as bacterial toxin like the botulinum toxin produced by Clostridium botulinum, which can cause muscle paralysis by inhibiting nerve transmission. And two, animal and plant toxin such as nifenol, marine and specific plants that have toxic effect on the nervous system. And third, natural and environmental exposure, such as living in mining area or regions contaminated with heavy metal, which increases the risk for the surrounding community. Okay, next we will discuss how neurotoxic substances enter the body. There are four primary routes: inhalation, injection, thermal contact, and direct injection. Okay, the first, inhalation. This is the most common route of exposure, especially in industrial and urban environment. Neurotoxic vapor or gas are inhaled into the lungs and rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream. And two, ingestion. This occurs by consuming food or beverages contaminated with hazard substances such as biological toxin, heavy metal, or industrial chemical residue. The substances are absorbed through the digestive tract to enter the bloodstream before reaching the nervous system. And three, thermal. This occurs through direct contact with neurotoxin chemicals such as organic solvent and liquid pesticides. And the last, injection or wounds. These include wounds infected with toxin like tetanus or direct injection that enter the bloodstream instantly. Then, many factors influence how the nervous system responds to chemical exposure, such as body mass index or BMI, length of employment, gender, the use of personal protective equipment or PPE, and smoking habits. The first, age. Age is a critical risk factor for selective nervous system vulnerability as we age, structural and functional changes occur, such as a decrease in the number and size of neurons, reduced synaptic plasticity, and a weakened ability for nerve cell regeneration. The second, body mass index or BMI. BMI is the most common way to determine if someone is overweight. High body fat can be a risk factor for neurotoxic symptoms, particularly those caused by organic solvents, which are compounds that bind easily to fat. The third, length. Neurotoxic disorder generally develop after years of often decades of exposure. They are rarely found in short-term exposure of less than 5 years. Therefore, a long working history is a major risk factor for workers. And the fourth, gender. The difference between men and women lead to hormonal variation that affect vulnerability. Gender also influences the enzymes produced by the body, which affect both toxicinity and toxicodynamics. The fifth, personal protective equipment or PPE, such as respirator and gloves, is a primary effort to prevent chemical exposure. The effectiveness of PPI depends heavily on its type, quality, maintenance, and consistency of use. Proper compliance can significantly lower the risk of occupational neurotoxic disorder. And the last, smoking habits. The danger of cigarettes come from the toxic chemical products during tobacco combustion, such as benzene, volatile and carcinogenic compound. Smoking can increase an individual vulnerability to neurotoxic symptoms, especially for workers already exposed to industrial chemical, creating a cumulative and more severe impact on neurological health. And next, moving on to neurotoxic symptoms. The symptoms can vary from person to person, depending on the type of chemical, the duration of exposure, and the effects revived. In general, neurotoxic symptoms manifest as motor disorder, sensory disorder, cognitive disorder, emotional disturbance, and insurgency. Okay, the first, motor symptoms. So, neurotoxic exposure often causes disturbance in body movement such as tremor, difficult walking or loss of balance, muscle weakness, muscle stiffness or spasms, slowed movement, and impaired reflexes or often paralysis. The second, sensory symptoms. So the symptoms affect the body sensation such as numbness in the hands or feet, tingling sensation, head or burning sensation, blurred or distorted vision, and hearing impairment. The third, cognitive and psychological symptoms. So, neurotoxic exposure can also affect a person's thinking ability and emotional state, including difficult concentrating, reduced memory capacity, the reduced learning ability, frequency confusion, sleep disorder, and emotional change such as irritability, anxiety, depression, or behavioral change. Okay, the last neurotoxic impact. The first, short-term impact. So, this usually occurs due to high gas exposure over a short period. Symptoms might include dizziness, nausea, tremor, loss of balance, sensory disturbance, and seizures. The second, long-term impact. The most dangerous consequence of neurotoxic exposure is its long-term impact, which is the most serious. This exposure can lead to a decline in intelligence and cognitive abilities, and then permanent memory impairment, change in personality or behavior, peripheral nerve damage, increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson or dementia. The third, impact on vulnerable groups. So, certain groups have a higher risk of neurotoxic impact, including fetuses in the womb, infants and children, pregnant women, the elderly, and workers with high level of chemical contact. Okay guys, to wrap up, preventing occupational disease caused by neurotoxic requires a constant vigilance and proper safety protocol. Let's prioritize safety and health in every workplace. Thank you for your attention and have a great day.